Okay, we're in the lightning round. Jim?
Just one more, the word union's been mentioned a bunch of times here tonight. Connecticut has kind of this rich history of manufacturing and unions. But there's two kinds of unions. There's public sector unions and there's private sector unions. And in this state, government union employees now outnumber private union employees. And so just wondered what you think the impact of that has been on the state, even on the political process. You know, Dan Malloy didn't win as a Democrat last time, right? He won as a Democrat out of working families. But I assume some of those working families may be public sector union members. So what's your take on the public sector unions, the growth of that sector, and how it impacts the state and what can be done, if anything, about it?
Joe, we'll start with you.
Okay, right now we are where we got, as that article from Forbes said.
Yeah.
Took us 70 years to get here. So the first thing we have to realize is the separation, as we know, of the public unions. You have the right as a private union to get what you can get. These projects where you have to pay prevailing wage is something we have to look at. As a contractor, I'll tell you that. It's just costing us a fortune. So that's where we really have to look for the private unions. Public unions, as I said earlier, they know we're going the way of Detroit. So we are going to have attrition. We freeze hiring. We will have attrition across state workers, but we need to take a look at all the new programs of defined benefits and all the things that you'll see that Forbes speaks about.
Excellent. Mayor?
I would just say that, you know, we're not going to win this election if we demonize unions in the state of Connecticut. And I think that, you know, as mayor of Danbury, I have 6 collective bargaining units that I deal with on a daily basis. And if you work hard and if you negotiate in good faith and treat our workers fairly, they'll return the favor time and time with exceptional quality service and with hard work. And that doesn't mean you have to give away the store in negotiations. We've slowly been migrating to things like defined contribution plans. We've eliminated retiree medical in a lot of cases. We've never allowed overtime to be calculated in your base pension. So we really never had the sins that a lot of other places have. And it really takes leadership at the top to be able to say, look, you know, we certainly respect the work you do. We honor you. We'll happily negotiate as part of a collective bargaining unit. But the taxpayer has certain limits and abilities to pay, and you have to recognize that. The problem that we have now in the state of Connecticut is that the citizens and residents of this state, the taxpayers, don't have honest services coming out of the governor's office. He is not negotiating in good faith. He can't, because he essentially owes his election to those very special interest groups that he's now trying to negotiate with. Yeah. So you end up getting things like the CBAC agreement, which even the union members would tell you in many parts of it were absurd. You know, you're not going to find $150 million of savings out in the employee suggestion box, yet that's in there and they realized. And there's a whole host of other things as well that really haven't been good for Connecticut. But you can change the dynamic between the collective bargaining unit and the employer. You can do that in a measured way that's fair to those people that are currently in the bargaining unit with new employees, and we've done that here in Danbury. And you can bend the cost curve later on for your taxpayers so that it comes out to be a little bit more fair. I think everybody belongs at the table. We're not going to solve our financial problems by certainly pointing to one group and dividing. I think we're much stronger when we look at what unites us, and I think unions can play a role. And I think there'll be times, as a governor, I'll have to say, we can't do any better than that. I'm sorry, do what you have to do. But at the end of the day, we don't even have that benefit from this current administration.
Well, first of all, unions have played a very important role in the history of our country, and I support unions absolutely. They're very important. But private sector unions are very different from public sector unions. And public sector unions, we were warned by both FDR and JFK, would take down this country, take it down financially. Because once they have their hands on the power to get the kinds of salaries that they want, that go to the unions to lobby for more power and more salaries, you can't stop that vicious cycle, because it elects politicians. And the politicians, as Mayor Boughton pointed out, who are elected that way, they will not shut down the union. So I have said, honor the existing obligations, but over time phase out public sector unions in Connecticut altogether. Other states have done it, and it just lifts the economy out. I mean, imagine if, and as I said, as a lawyer, I litigate my values, and I'm litigating a case right now, a class action against a state public sector union as local counsel for the National Right to Work Foundation. It's that important.
Okay. We're going to go to the close in just a minute. We're going to go in reverse order. You'll have a minute and a half to look into that camera and tell everyone why you want to be the next governor. Just before that, lightning round, First off, we have a return phone call from the New York Times writer who's going to speak very quickly. Very quickly.
We still haven't answered his first question. I just want to know that for the record.
Yes, firstly, I'd like
Quickly,
to,
Eric, please.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'd like to cast my ballot for Ms. Dean for the Director of Morals for this state. But seriously,
Quickly, Eric, please.
the 800-pound gorilla who's not in the room, Mr. Foley, how do you three differentiate yourselves from him?
Okay, hold on one second. Give me a quick answer to that one question, one sentence answer between you and Dick Foley.
Well, we went to the same high
I
school.
mean, Tom Foley.
We
sorry.
went to the same high school, Phillips Academy, so that's a similarity. But the difference is that I'm broke and broken like the rest of Connecticut, and Tom Foley's not.
Mayor Bowden?
All I can tell you is I didn't go to private school. I went to public school. I'm a blue-collar Republican. Built everything I have with my wife, and we celebrate that every day. Tom is just a different person, and the voters have been very clear that they're not going to elect a Greenwich millionaire to either governor, or United States Senate, or any other position in Connecticut.
Joe?
Tom's a great guy. It's either him or me for governor.
Okay. Now we're going to go to the closing sections, and if we